Welcome again, architecture students. We are going to create some driveways and sidewalks and probably some little garden areas, okay? It's really easy to do. When I do these, I just use the floor tool, okay? So I'm just using floors. Click on floors, and I'm going to do a driveway first. Right now, I've got a generic floor, 12-inch. I can use that as my template if I want to. I'm going to edit, type, and I do want this material to be concrete. Now I can use the 12-inch, okay, that's not a problem. Actually, I work better with 6 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this and do this as 6-inch, oops, that's not inch, concrete, and I'll know that to do my driveways and sidewalks with. Now, in reality, typically your driveways and sidewalks are 4 inches, and you can annotate them that way on this drawing or on one of these drawings. You can annotate them as 4 inches, but in your actual fictional world here inside of Revit, you can go ahead and draw them in at 6 inches thick or what have you. Because what we're looking at is just kind of for photographic value. Go to Edit. Change the material right here in the center column. You're going to change that to concrete cast in place gray. And you're going to change the thickness to 6 inches. Now, of course, you might use 12 inches if it works better for you. Click OK, apply OK. And I'm going to draw a driveway, a real simple driveway. I'm going to use the line tool. I'm not going to use anything special. Just going to draw it with the line tool. Now, when you're drawing in this mode, you always have to have a closed piece of geometry. But I'm coming right there from the edge of the garage entrance. I don't have to come from there. I can actually come out here a little bit too if I want. You're going to draw the driveway down to approximately where the street might end up being. Okay. I'm going to do this one. Okay. I'm going to close the end up here. So I'm going to sort of trace around this wall. And actually, I remember my foundation does come out a little bit, so I can just go straight across. Okay, down here at the end, you know how driveways have the little curves going out to the side, kind of opening up to the street. We want to do that too. So I'm going to click on the arc tool, click on the end, pull this down here to where the street might supposedly be. And to make sure my other one is identical, I want to mirror that one. Select it. Click on mirror, come here, click, and there it is. I must not have been exactly in the center because it's a little off, but that's okay. I can just click on it, use my arrow keys, line that back up. Now it's attached. Okay, I might have to stretch this out just a little bit if it will stretch. So it'll have to be a little bit different. Okay, so let's do this because we want it to reach out here to the end of the property. Let's just go ahead and draw its own individual line. So sometimes they are going to be slightly different in value as far as the radius is concerned. All right, oh yeah, we got to close the end down here. And when you do this, you got to be careful. If I draw this line straight, look, it just goes right across that arced line, which is going to really screw me up. Okay, so just kind of come out a little bit and then go across. That's all you got to do. It's no big deal. Okay, there we go. Then I'm going to click the green check mark, save the project, and there is my driveway. Now we're going to go into 3 dimensions and look at our work. So let's see, do I have a 3D view? I sure do. Okay, and this is, of course, an unfinished example you're looking at. Now, if you look at my driveway, it's actually floating above the land itself. We have to fix that. Okay, and I'll put it in realistic view so you can see it floating above the dirt. Okay, and one thing I forgot to show you about the dirt is how to turn it into grass. So let's do that first. So click on the dirt, click over here where it says material by category, click on that, and to be on the safe side, just go ahead and make a new material. That's the best thing to do. Call it grass. And then click on the material library right here. Okay, that one's already in use. I've already used that one. So let's call it grass 2. Click on the material library right here. Okay, and I'm going to come up here and type grass. There's only a few types of grasses that you can use in Revit. Okay, and you click on that where it says site work, you get more choices. So there's different kinds of grasses you can use. Probably the best one is going to be this dark green or this dark rye. And we're going to click on the little arrow out here to the side. We'll throw it over here into your new material. Click apply and OK. Click off of the land. Now you got green grass. All right, getting back to what I was showing you is the driveway is floating above the ground a little bit. We're going to fix that. Okay. Now remember out here, I think we went down a -2 feet. We can double check that, but I do believe it was -2 feet. So we want to kind of slope the driveway just like that. So I'm going to go back to my landscape plan view. I'm going to click on the driveway. I'm going to add some editing points to it. First, I'm going to click right up here where it says modify sub elements. So with my driveway selected, I click to modify sub elements. So that lets me modify these points. I'm going to add some points right here. I'm going to click on add point. I'm going to add about 3 points on each side directly across from each other. And you're just clicking. So I click to place it and just move right across and it'll help guide you over there. You're not holding down the mouse button at all. You've released the mouse button. And then you're going to click again. And then come down here and click, then go over here and click. So that gives you several points to actually edit that by. First thing I want to look at, and I kind of forgot to do this, but I'm going to go back to my 3D view and I'm going to look at it, how it compares to the foundation, if there even is one on this house. There is not, but sometimes you have to lower that, either lower it or raise it. And it's best to do that from like a side view. But this one looks like it's placed well. Okay. I'm going to go back to the landscape plan view. And I'm going to modify elements again. And I'm going to start modifying these points. Okay. So this is a -6. My goodness, come on. Click in the box, -6 inches. And make the other side the same thing. -6 inches. Okay. Here I'm going to make this -1 foot. Make this one -1 foot. Make this one -1 foot 6 inches. And make this one -1 foot 6 inches. Okay, make this one, I'm going to make that one about, I could do -1 foot 9 inches. Let's do that. That may not work. Okay, so we may have to go back and do some more editing. So -1 foot 9 inches. And then right out here, all these, there's 4 of them right there, so make sure you get all of them. -2 feet. And here, -2 feet. Okay, come over here to the other side. -2 feet. -2 feet. Okay. All right, now we're going to go back to we're going to actually hit the escape button. We're going to go back to our 3D view, take a look at it. I think we have got it. It's right there on top of the property itself, okay? And it kind of comes through the bottom. That's okay. That's what we don't mind it doing that. We want it to do that. Okay, so there's your driveway. It's kind of sloped coming out this way, like a driveway usually is. And you want it that way as well, because when it rains, you don't want water running into your garage. Okay, so the driveway should have a slope on it, at least 1/8 of an inch per foot. But with the way we did it, we're a bit more than that, so we're good to go. All right, now that's a driveway, and you do sidewalks the same way. And I'm going to let you watch me do some of those. But let's go back to the landscape plan. Let's do some garden beds. Okay, I'm going to put a garden bed right up under this window. So I'm going to use the floor tool again. I can just use this as my template. Click on Edit Type. Click over here on Duplicate. And we're just going to call it Dirt. Okay, click OK. And structure, I'm going to go in there to edit the structure material. If you click on that and get your little different materials here, just go to earth. There's a material called earth. And thickness, you can leave it at 6, change it to 4. A lot of times I'll work with 4 inches, but I think I'm just going to work with 6. I had problems earlier working with 4. Click OK, apply, OK. Now that depth that I set of 6 inches, it's nothing code-wise or what you're supposed to do or not supposed to do or anything like that. That's just what what I did. Okay, so here I'm going to draw just like I did with the driveway. And let's say I want the garden kind of right here. You can come out as far as you want to. Doesn't have to be any specific distance. Come over here. I'm going to leave a little space because I'm going to create a porch right here by the door. So I left a little space there. All right, and it's got to be a closed loop, so I got to close the back of it up here. I'm going to click on the green check mark, and now I have some dirt. Let's go to 3D and look at dirt. There's my dirt. I click off of it, and I got a little patch of dirt right there. And you'll have to level that. As you see, it kind of sticks up above the ground in some places right there. So what you have to do, you might have to get a different view of it, like a section view from the landscape plan. And just draw a section view right through it. Okay, and let's actually stretch that a little further. All right, so there's our dirt. We want to just get our side view here and use our arrow keys on our keyboard, and we just bump that dirt down until it all sits right there on top of the ground. Okay, so there's our dirt again. Okay, now with the driveway, I kind of did something I didn't want to, or I didn't finish something. I'm going to go back, activate it, go back to this view, and I want to pull this out right to the edge of the garden. Okay, that's better. All right, now I'm going to make a porch right here in front of the house. Let's take this section view and move it over. And I'm going to use a floor tool again. And I'm going to use some, let's use 6-inch concrete. And line tool, and I'm going to draw my porch right here, right along, yeah, about right there, even with the garden. Come over here about even with that wall, and just come straight on across. I don't think I hooked it up all the way together there. Let me delete that line. Yes, that's what I did. Right there. Click. Now we've got a porch. Now porches do have to have a slope to them. Again, you don't want water running into the house. So we can set it up with a slope. But first thing we want to do is set the general height of it. So let's bring this section view over here. We'll click on that. Okay. So we want to bring that down because it's going to be a little bit lower than the actual foundation. So when you walk out the door, you're actually going over a step. So I just lowered it 2 inches. Is all I lowered it there. And to cover this part up where it seems to be floating over the property, so I'm going to put a slope on that. And it's going to actually slope the little pad there down. So going back to my landscape plan, I'm going to activate that. And here's my slope arrow right here. Click on that slope arrow. I draw it from here to here. Now, the elevations that you set the slope at are set right over here, and they're relative to where it was already sitting. So it was, 2 inches below its original position. So I'm really just making this relative to that position that it's currently at. So where it says height offset at tail, right here, so height at tail, default, offset at tail, just make that say 0. Okay, and that will leave it at the height that you had just previously put it. Here, where it says height offset at head, or level at head, and height offset at head, you're going to put, say, like a -2 inches. Now, every 12 inches, it has to slope for 1/8 of an inch. But if I do this at 2 inches, it's going to be plenty. So I'm going to do 2 inches. That might even be too much. We'll go in there and take a look. Okay, so we're going to click the green check mark to say we're done with that. We're going to double click. Oops, you know what? I didn't do it the right direction. Okay, I'm going to double click on that, open view. Okay, level 1 height offset. Okay, I got to click on the arrow to get that reading. Okay, 0, See, I did 2. It should have been -2. -2 inches. Now we'll take a look at it. And there we go. It kind of slopes right along. And 2, if you want your garden to match, you can do a slope on that as well. And that way your garden will match. Okay. So next thing I want to do is a sidewalk. You got to have a sidewalk from your front porch to the driveway. So I'm going to go back to the landscape plan, and I'm going to draw a sidewalk using the floor tool again, using the same material, using a line. I'm going to draw it right along here, right up there. And a good width for a sidewalk is like right at 3 feet. That was like 3 feet 1 inches. No big deal at all. Just get it at least 3 feet wide. Okay, and I'm going to finish it. I'm going to stretch this puppy out a little bit. Okay, and there's my sidewalk. So I want to drop it first. I want to drop it to that level right there. So that's even with the porch. Okay, and just to make it look good, I'm going to slope it up front here too. Now sidewalks, you don't have to have sloped. But, you know, I mean, it really wouldn't hurt to have it sloped. But you don't want to make it sloped too much because the people living there might fall off. Or in order to fill this gap, I could go in here and just make a new concrete. Let's do that first. Let's make a new concrete thickness for this. So I'm going to use that as a template, edit type, duplicate. I want to make this 9-inch concrete. Go to structure and edit. 9 inches. Okay, so it's thicker and it actually goes into the ground, which is what I wanted. Okay, so let's go to 3D view. And there's our sidewalk. Okay. And for some of you that might look a little thick. And 2, if you look right here, the driveway has a slope to it, so why shouldn't the sidewalk have a little bit of a slope to it? Because you don't want that ledge for people to trip over. Now again, this is also fictional, but you know, I like to just make sure things like that are set up properly. So let's start by doing a slope on the sidewalk. Double click on that, go to the landscape plan, slope arrow, click here to here. Okay, make the tail 0, make this a -2 feet. Apply. Take a look at it in here. Whoops. Click on the green check mark. Whoa, I made it -2 feet. That's what I did. I wasn't thinking. I mean, I needed to make it 2 inches. -2 inches. Yeah, I got to go back and click on the arrow. So let's go back to the landscape plan. Double click on that. Click on the arrow. -2 inches. Go in here and look. And everything, wow, look, it slopes just perfectly right there. Now let's go look at it at the driveway. Okay, let's actually take the driveway and let's drop that one down a little bit as well. So if I click on the driveway, let's see, height offset, let's put that at -2 inches. A lot of times the driveway would be at -6. Okay, so we got that down. Okay, so all that looks pretty good together. Okay, don't you think? Now, just to kind of ignore the space below my house, because I don't have a foundation in there just yet, or at all. I can put one in it real quick. We go to level 1, floor, and pick walls. Okay, so we're just going to put the same, we're just going to put a concrete floor all the way through it, and this is just for the demonstration sake. Alrighty, and now if we go to 3D view, okay, now it looks a little better. I got to stretch my floor out though. Always make sure you do this when you're using a slab. That line goes out here. Depending, of course, this one would have a brick ledge, would make it a little different, but we're not going to worry about that right now. Okay. Now it probably looks better. Looks very good. Okay. Awesome. Down here at the end, it looks like my driveway is going under the grass. So I'm going to do some repair here. Bring this up. Bring this one up out of these two. I think it's that back one right there. Okay, click off of it. I may have raised the wrong one, but as you can see what I'm trying to do. So you have to kind of go in there and play with some of those levels to get them right, so you don't have your grass kind of coming right over the edge of your driveway. Okay, that's a little better, but you see what I'm doing. Okay, so you need to do that as well. Okay, so I've got a little garden spot here. Actually, I think I want to take this porch and stretch it all the way out to the end of the house right here. Okay, that's better. Gives them a little long little porch there to sit on. Okay, so that's how you do driveways, sidewalks, and gardens. Next is your plantings. Okay, so going to my landscape plan. Well, actually, why don't I end this here and we'll do plantings on the next one.